All right, welcome back, you guys. For some of you may know that I run my own SMMA, and today we're going to go through sort of my process of outreach and what softwares I use. All right. So with that said, we'll get into the first software I recommend, which of course would be the CRM. How do you keep track of the clients you've contacted, how many times you've contacted them, and their information? So my favorite one right now is Pipedrive. That's the easiest to use. It's very simple. You just basically you build out a pipeline, right? And a pipeline. And then each section, you have where the prospect is. So in my case, I have like qualified. So that's just when I've qualified them as like a potential prospect and put them into the list, waiting to be contacted, right? And then the next one you can move over. First touch point, second touch point, third touch point, fourth touch point, and so on. Touch points are points of contact, so how many times you contacted them. On average, you need from 8, or is it 5 to 12 on average to get a sale. I'm going with 8, sort of a happy medium. And so in each of these touch points, you can go, here's how I do. I go email, social media outreach, Facebook or Instagram, email, social outreach, email, LinkedIn, and then the first time when I connect with them on LinkedIn automatically, I always just do that regardless. And then do the social email, social outreach you'll do twice, email outreach you'll do like 4 times, and then you can also include Twitter and like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. Twitter's kind of a iffy one because most people aren't open to having messages on there, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, Twitter's definitely one. And then of course you have and then that's sort of it. And then you have like the prospect book to call, close the client, stuff like that. So you have them in each category, and they'll go through it. And then once they're done with that, they'll go to a reactivation list, and this reactivation list is for prospects who didn't book a call or basically get signed. And so we'll wait 3 months and then start recontacting them again. And if a prospect says no, you put them also on that list. You never just want to let your prospects go. You always, you'll wait a bit, but never just, all right, delete them and they're never going to buy from me, So remember, because you have to recontact them, For some people, it might take like 20 times for them to finally say yes. So, yeah. And so that's sort of my, that's sort of the software I use, so Pipedrive for the CRM. Now for outreach, currently I'm using snov.io. There's probably better ones, but for cold email, that's what I'm using. And it's really nice. You can, it's got a tool, right, that you can install onto Chrome, and you'll go to a website, you'll see all of the emails listed with that website, and all the company emails, anything, that are on that website. And it will also do one with LinkedIn. It has a LinkedIn that you can also install, like a LinkedIn little application. And this, well, if you can get the profile of whoever you're trying to contact, it'll get you their email if they have one. And so that's really nice, even if you haven't connected with them. So I really recommend that. And it's great for finding emails. And it's also really great for outreach. You can have like templates that you preset, and you can name them, things like that. I have about 9 different templates right now. So there's 3 main types, and then there's like email 1, email 2, email 3. I need to make 4 actually. 4 emails, because that's normally how much I'm sending through the whole phase, amongst other social. And so it's got like templates. You can search up companies. You can even prospect on there. So you can search up things like, you can search up health and fitness in the industry, and then in the United States with how many employees, you can do stuff like that. I'm in the fitness niche, so it's not really much of a niche. It's like a whole industry, right? It's going pretty well. So I really like snov.io. You can start on it for free, and then you start having to pay once you get to a certain point. And I honestly think it's worth it. There's only one other platform I would use, is Lucia, for finding numbers. If you're trying to find phone numbers for people, I would recommend Lucia, and I'm probably gonna start on that pretty soon. So yeah, so that's the second software I use for SSMA in 2022 is Lucia. Is Snob.io. And then you're probably wondering, okay, that sounds pretty nice. And then let's say once you do sign a client, how do you get paid? How do you communicate? And stuff like that. And where's your website on and stuff like that. So first we'll tackle the website thing. Currently I'm using ClickFunnels. I don't know if you've heard of ClickFunnels. It's by Russell Brunson. He's like an entrepreneur. He's pretty popular in the e-commerce space. Anything online, people know who Russell Brunson is. And yeah, and he built this. But basically, it's a website builder. He calls it a funnel builder. But it's basically an in-depth website builder that you can do lots of things with. That you can piece together and create your own masterpiece sort of thing. And currently, it's like $100 a month. Honestly, for what I use it for, it's almost not worth it. It's not. It's whatever. I wouldn't recommend it for the first thing. I'm sure you could build an equivalent on Wix. My website, it's leadflow, leedflo.com, and it basically just has what I do and then a place they can schedule a call, and Wix could easily do that for me too. So if you have a simpler site, especially for SSMA, you don't want to distract. Give them one reason to be on that website, and mine is to book a call with me, right? And so it's optional. You could use something like Wix instead. I really like Wix. I've built lots of websites on Wix, so I like Wix. Not as much customization, that's the downside, but how much customization do you really need for an SSMA? Now, the reason I use ClickFunnels too is because I'm gonna start doing blogs and different funnels and stuff like that. So it'll be quite a bit of different things. So ClickFunnels is the third software I use. That's for my website and hosting. I got the domain from Google Domains and connected it and all that. So it's pretty easy. You can look it up. They have tons of videos. And then, how do I communicate with the clients? Now, Iman, I'm sure you've heard of Iman Gadji. Who hasn't? And he is So he is very against using Slack for communication with clients, even though he used to use it. But I understand. He's built a website or a company called Agency Flow. It's basically an all-in-one platform for agency owners, right? And it's actually really awesome. And I'm probably going to use it once I sign a client, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll try out Slack first and see. And if Slack works great, then we'll stick with Slack. I'm paying for the pro version, but if not, I'll move over to Agency Flow. It's a great software, but he always says don't use Slack, because he's got to promote his brand. So I understand, but Slack isn't. It's not that bad. I used it a lot for school when I was programming, and it worked great. So so that's the fourth software, is Slack. And then I know there's a couple more. So how do I get my invoices? Stripe. I'm sure you've heard of Stripe. It's like a payment processor, very common, really big, goes across different currencies, stuff like that. So I really like Stripe for that. What else? Oh, and you can do recurring bills too and stuff like that. So that's why I use it. Oh yeah, and then for booking meetings, I use Calendly. I'm paying for that. It's $15 a month, but it's been really helpful. So I am using that too. I considered getting LinkedIn Pro, but I'm not so sure. We'll see about it, but I'm not so sure LinkedIn is a great place to do it. Besides that, that's about it. I may start running ads at some point too for my agency, but it's a whole nother topic for another video. Okay, and then how do I actually go about outreach? So Iman, I'm gonna drop you guys some dimes here, right? He has a lot of ways of doing it. I use Instagram. I follow a brand that I could see myself working for. Then in the recommended, I go and do all those other brands and get all their information, stuff like that. Google Maps, if you're doing gyms, which I am. that works really well. Gyms near me, and just search, and then yeah, you can save them to a list. I'll personally save it to my pipe drive or pipeline, and then Kickstarter, sort of like for products that have a lot of funding and they're going to need marketing for it, and so that's a great place because these companies are fresh out of they've just built their brand and now they need to market it and get a lot of people on there. So Kickstarter is also another great place. Yeah, I mean, outreach, it's really not that hard. You just have to find you sort of unique ways of doing it. But yeah, it's really not that hard. You can definitely find a way. Yeah, so there's also things like LinkedIn. I've heard people have had some results on. I've also heard things like, what is it called? Upwork. I can't do Upwork right now because I'm not 18 yet, but Upwork is definitely a good place to find potential clients and stuff like that. Because the nice thing about Upwork is they're there to buy, and that's a lot easier than convincing people that they need marketing, right? They have already got the hard part done. Now you just got to convince them they need it from you. And so that is why Iman recommends you work in a niche, because that way that's your main selling point is, hey, we only work with this type of this company, fitness brands only, right? That's a main selling point. They're gonna be like, okay, so he understands my market. And so yeah, that's one thing I'd recommend is use that to your advantage. So yeah, and I think that's all I have to say for today. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys later.